The evening sun casts long shadows across my parents' circular driveway as I pull in after a 12-hour day at Hamilton and Associates. My fingers ache from reconciling spreadsheets, my shoes pinch from too many hours at my desk, but something else catches my attention. A gleaming white Lexus SUV sits proudly in the center of the drive, complete with an oversized red bow on the hood. Madison twirls a set of keys around her finger, practically bouncing on the balls of her feet. My parents stand behind her on the porch, champagne flutes in hand, beaming like they've just won the lottery. The familiar knot of worry tightens in my stomach, the one that appears whenever my younger sister announces another fresh start. Lauren. Madison squeals, "Come see what Mom and Dad helped me get." I force a smile and climb out of my sensible Honda Civic, the one I drove through 3 promotions, because it still runs perfectly fine. My phone buzzes in my pocket. Probably another work email. I'll check it later. Quite a surprise, I say, keeping my voice neutral. The spring air carries the scent of Mom's flowering crabapple trees mixed with the crisp bite of expensive champagne. Isn't it gorgeous? Madison runs her hand along the pristine white paint. They had it specially ordered. The interior is buttercream leather. My phone buzzes again and again. The persistent vibration finally makes me pull it out. Your account balance is below $500. The notification glows on my screen like a hot coal. That can't be right. I just checked my accounts this morning. My home savings fund held $62,000, the result of 6 years of careful planning and disciplined saving. Lauren, Mom's voice sounds distant as I open my banking app. Don't you want to see inside? The numbers swim before my eyes. Where there should be 5 digits, I see $128.76. My mother's champagne glass slips from her fingers, shattering on the flagstone steps. The sound jolts me back to reality, and I look up to find my father's face has gone slack. "We borrowed it," he says, his rehearsed explanation already prepared. For Madison's fresh start. The words hit me like a physical blow. Borrowed. My voice comes out barely above a whisper. From my house fund. "Oh, honey." Mom waves her hand as if shooing away an annoying fly. "You're so good with money, you'll bounce back in no time." I stare at Madison's designer purse, a perfect match to the one hanging from Mom's arm. The same style I'd admired in a store window last month, but couldn't justify buying while saving for my house. The pieces click together like a poisoned puzzle. Madison's pattern of dropping out of college programs, the job she quit after a few weeks, the small loans that were never repaid. 6 months ago, I say, my voice trembling. We celebrated my promotion. You toasted my house fund goal. Dad's face hardens. Now Lauren family helps family. Your sister needs family. The word tastes bitter in my mouth. I pull out my phone again, fingers steady despite the rage building in my chest. Let's talk about family. I dial my bank's number, putting it on speaker. "This is Lauren Reynolds. I need to close all family-linked accounts immediately." Mom steps forward. "Lauren, don't be dramatic. I'm also on the deed to this house." I continue, my voice growing stronger. "My name is on nearly everything you own. Should we discuss that too?" The color drains from my father's face. Madison's keys stop their incessant jingling. I turn and walk back to my car, my sensible shoes crunching over bits of broken glass. Behind me, phones start chiming with account closure notifications. "Lauren Elizabeth Reynolds," Dad's voice booms across the driveway. "Get back here this instant." I pause at my car door, the metal cool under my palm. Family doesn't steal from family. The drive home passes in a blur. My knuckles turn white on the steering wheel as I grip it to keep my hands from shaking. In my rearview mirror, I watch my parents' frantic figures grow smaller, their phones pressed to their ears as they realize exactly what I meant about my name being on everything they own. The truth crashes over me in waves. Every overtime shift, every brown bag lunch, every careful budget entry, all of it stolen by the people who taught me the value of a dollar in the first place. The irony would be funny if it didn't hurt so much. I park in front of my apartment building but can't bring myself to get out of the car. The sunset paints the sky in shades of amber and gold, the same colors as the champagne they were drinking to celebrate stealing my future. My phone lights up with texts and missed calls. I silence it without looking at the names. They've had their say. Now it's my turn to speak, and my actions will echo louder than their excuses ever could. Angry, 15 minutes later. The spreadsheets don't lie. My fingers hover over the keyboard as row after row of numbers fills my laptop screen. The soft glow illuminates stacks of bank statements scattered across my dining room table, each one a fresh wound. Outside my apartment window, streetlights flicker on as evening settles over Longmont, but I barely notice the passing hours. The cell phone beside me buzzes again. 27 missed calls, 43 text messages, 6 voicemails, each one cataloged in its own column of my growing document. A knock at the door makes me flinch. "Lauren, I brought reinforcements." "Valerie." The tension in my shoulders eases slightly as I unlock the door. My best friend stands there holding 2 massive cups of coffee, her auburn hair falling out of its usual neat bun. "I got your text," she says, pressing one of the cups into my hands. "The good stuff from Joe's, not that chain store sugar water you pretend to like." The coffee's warmth seeps into my palms as Valerie takes in the chaos spread across my dining room. Her eyes widen at the fortress of paperwork I've built. "I need to document everything." I say the words, coming out every account, every transaction, every forged signature. My phone lights up with another notification. Madison's latest Instagram post, "When Jealousy Destroys Families," with a photo of her looking tearfully into the distance. The comments section overflows with heart emojis and supportive messages. "Robert can help," Valerie says, pulling out her own phone. "He does digital forensics for that tech firm, remember? Let me call him." 2 hours later, Robert's laptop joins mine on the table. His fingers fly over the keys, following electronic breadcrumbs through years of account statements. "Look at this pattern," he says, turning his screen toward me. "Small withdrawals, $30 to $80 from joint accounts you probably forgot existed. They did their homework." Patricia arrives next, a stack of real estate documents under her arm. My colleague's familiar no-nonsense expression softens when she sees me. "I pulled everything related to your parents' property records," she says, spreading papers across the coffee table, "including documents you supposedly co-signed." My stomach lurches at the sight of my signature-perfect forgeries on loan applications I never saw. The numbers blur as I add them to my spreadsheet. 42,000 for Madison's SUV, 65,000 in home refinancing, 28,000 in student loans for degrees she never finished. The total catches in my throat. $198,476.32, $198, $476.32. "I'm going to be sick," I whisper. Valerie's hand squeezes my shoulder. "We're not done yet, we're just getting started." My phone rings Dad's number. When I don't answer, a voicemail appears seconds later. His voice booms through the speaker, alternating between threats and pleas. "Lauren Elizabeth, you're destroying this family after everything we've done for you." I delete it before he can finish. Another message pops up, this one from Mom. "Your father had a meeting with the bank today. They're threatening foreclosure. Is this what you want? To see your family homeless?" "They're scrambling," Robert says, still typing. "Trying to move money around, but the account freezes are already in place." Madison's face appears on my Instagram feed again, this time in a tearful video. "I just don't understand how my own sister could do this to us. We're supposed to be family." The comments pour in. "Stay strong, sweetie, families should support each other no matter what." She sounds toxic. Even the family pastor joins the chorus, his name appearing on my caller ID. I send it straight to voicemail, already knowing the message will be about forgiveness and turning the other cheek. "Your 3 o'clock is here," Patricia says, checking her watch. "William Barnes, the financial advisor." I nod, gathering the most critical documents into a folder. The spreadsheet's final tally glows accusingly on my screen entry, all of it stolen by the people who taught me to balance my first checkbook. William arrives precisely on time, his silver hair and wire-rimmed glasses projecting exactly the kind of steady competence I need right now. He's followed by Sarah Mitchell. The attorney, Patricia recommended, her heels clicking purposefully across my hardwood floor. "Let's create a strategy," Sarah says, pulling out a legal pad. "3 phases: protect, document, and prosecute. Are you ready to hear the options?" I look around at the battle station my dining room has become. Valerie organized documents into categories. At Robert tracking digital trails. Patricia highlighting deed records. At the phone that won't stop buzzing with guilt trips and threats. Yes, I say, my voice stronger than it's been in days. I'm ready. Sarah lays out 3 forms on the table. Police reports for identity theft and fraud. My hand shakes as I pick up the pen. But the ink flows steady and true as I sign my name, my real signature, not the forged versions scattered across so many documents. The final text from Mom arrives as I finish the last form. We're about to lose everything. Is that what you want? My finger hovers over the send button that will deliver all our evidence to the authorities. In my mind, I see Mom's champagne glass fingers shattering on the flagstone steps, Madison twirling her new car keys, Dad's rehearsed explanation about borrowing my life savings. A lifetime of family comes first, whispers in my ear. But as I stare at the spreadsheet documenting nearly 200,000 reasons they never really put me first at all, I know what I have to do. I press send. The silence that follows feels like standing in the eye of a hurricane. Around me, my chosen family works quietly. Valerie sorting documents, Robert tracking accounts, Patricia organizing evidence, Sarah and William planning next steps. None of them need to ask if I'm sure about this. They see the numbers. They know that some betrayals can't be forgiven just because they were committed by blood. My phone buzzes one final time. Another message from Mom. Blood is thicker than water, Lauren. Remember that. I think of the red bow on Madison's new SUV bought with my stolen dreams, of the matching designer purses Mom and Madison carried while I brown-bagged my lunch to save for a house, of Dad's signature practicing mine until he could forge it perfectly. Blood might be thicker than water, but it's not thicker than fraud. 2 weeks later, the repo man circles Madison's gleaming white SUV, like a vulture eyeing its next meal. His neon yellow vest catches the morning sun as he checks the VIN number against his clipboard. Madison stands on her apartment steps, mascara running down her cheeks, clutching the repossession notice in her manicured hands. I watch from my parked Honda, remembering how she twirled those keys just weeks ago. The memory tastes bitter now, like coffee left too long on the burner. My phone buzzes. A text from Mom. Please call us. The country club declined our cards at lunch. We were humiliated in front of the Hendersons. The screen lights up again. This time it's Dad. The bank froze our home equity line. What have you done? What have I done? My fingers curl into fists. The question should be what they've done. Forged signatures, drained accounts, stolen futures. The evidence sits in a thick manila folder on my passenger seat, each paper another nail in the coffin of the family I thought I had. You can't take it. Madison's voice carries across the parking lot. Daddy's lawyer will stop you. The repo man doesn't even look up from his paperwork. He's heard it all before. My phone rings. Edward Hamilton, my boss. Lauren, do you have a minute? Of course. I keep my voice steady, professional. In my rearview mirror, I watch the tow truck back up to Madison's SUV. The board just reviewed your report on the Peterson account fraud. Impressive work catching those discrepancies. Thank you, sir. A normal day, normal words, but nothing feels normal anymore. It got me thinking. We have an opening for a senior risk analyst. The way you handled your own situation, detecting the fraud, documenting everything, taking immediate action, that's exactly what we need. Are you interested? The tow truck's chains rattle as they secure Madison's SUV. She's given up screaming and slumped onto the steps, shoulders shaking. I'd be honored, I say, meaning it. At least something good can come from this mess. Excellent. We'll discuss the details on Monday. He pauses. And Lauren, the firm has your back. Whatever your family tries. The words settle like a warm blanket around my shoulders. That night, for the first time since discovering the theft, I slept through until morning. But peace never lasts long these days. Lauren. A familiar voice stops me outside church Sunday morning. Mrs. Peterson, my old Sunday school teacher, hurries over in her floral dress. I just had lunch with your mother. She's absolutely devastated. Surely there's room for forgiveness. Before I can respond, my phone chimes. A news alert. My stomach drops as I read the headline: Local woman speaks out about family abandonment. There's Madison perfectly posed and tearful telling Channel 4 how her successful sister turned her back on family in their time of need. The comments pour in. How heartless. Family first. Money isn't everything. They don't know about the forged documents, the drained accounts, the years of lies. Dad works fast. By Monday morning, 3 Rotary Club members had called my firm, expressing concerns. But Edward just forwards their messages to legal and gives me a bigger office. The same Monday, I'm sorting files in that new office when the security desk calls. Ms. Reynolds, your parents are here. Ice spreads through my veins. I didn't authorize. They're already on their way up. I hear them before I see them. Dad's heavy footsteps, Mom's heels clicking on the tile. Lauren Elizabeth Dad's voice booms down the hallway. You will fix this mess right now. I stand hands steady on my desk. His face is red fists clenched. Mom hovers behind him, dabbing at dry eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. Oh, baby, she wails loud enough for the gathering audience of my colleagues. How could you do this to us? I didn't do anything to you. My voice comes out clear and strong. You stole from me. You forged my signature. You took my future. We're your parents. Dad takes a step forward. Sir? A deep voice cuts through the tension. Marcus from security fills my doorway. I'll need you both to leave. This is a family matter. This is a place of business. Marcus doesn't move. And these are the consequences of your choices. They escort my parents out. Through my window, I watch them cross the parking lot. Mom's shoulders shake with theatrical sobs. Dad's neck is still crimson with rage. My phone buzzes. Valerie. Robert finished installing your security system. All cameras are active. Patricia's text follows. Cabin keys are yours whenever you need an escape. Another message. Jennifer, my old roommate. Channel 4 wants your side of the story, ready when you are. The support surrounds me like armor stronger than blood. A new email arrives from the fraud investigation team. First phase complete. Assets frozen. Criminal charges pending. I click through the attached photos. Madison's SUV on the auction block. The country club membership was suspended. The family home's second mortgage was exposed. The last image stops my breath. A portrait from my parents' silver anniversary. All of us were smiling. All of us are lying. I close the file and open my calendar. Dr. Wilson, my therapist, has an opening at 4. The thing about betrayal, she'll tell me later watching me shred the anniversary photo, is that it's always done by someone you trusted. I leave her office and drive straight to Antoine's salon. Take it off, I tell him, gathering my hair into a ponytail. All of it. 10 inches of blonde history falls to the floor. That evening, a certified letter arrived. The return address makes my heart skip. Martha Reynolds' estate, Franklin Morris, attorney at law. I trace my grandmother's name with a finger. She knew. Somehow she knew this day would come. The letter is thick, heavy with secrets and what feels like redemption. I set it on my kitchen counter unopened. Pour a glass of wine. Watch the sunset through my new security cameras. Tomorrow, I'll read what Grandma Martha had to say. Tomorrow, I'll learn what other secrets this family holds. Tonight, I let myself feel the weight of everything lost and the unexpected strength of everything found. My short hair tickles my neck, unfamiliar and perfect. Like this new version of me emerging from the ashes of what my family burned. The next day, Franklin Morris's office suite smells like leather and old books. His mahogany desk stretches between us, covered in stacks of manila folders that chronicle 40 years of my grandmother Martha's financial wisdom. My fingers trace the gold nameplate near the edge, while he opens a thick red file. Your grandmother was quite thorough in her documentation. Franklin's wire-rimmed glasses catch the morning light as he spreads photographs across the polished wood. Bank statements, property deeds, loan applications with forged signatures that match my parents' handwriting perfectly. She began collecting evidence 7 years ago. The air leaves my lungs. Before I even started at Hamilton and Associates, Martha knew Thomas and Diane's patterns. He taps a particular photo my father signing my name on a second mortgage application. She watched them drain your college fund when you were 16. That's when she created the trust. My voice cracks. She never said anything. She couldn't? Franklin reaches for a remote control. Not until now. The wall-mounted television flickers to life. My grandmother appears, seated in her favorite armchair. The blue cardigan I gave her for Christmas drapes her shoulders. The timestamp reads 2 months before her death. Lauren, sweetheart. Her familiar voice fills the room. If you're watching this, they finally did what I feared. Your father learned his financial habits from watching his father destroy our family's security. I spent 30 years rebuilding what your grandfather gambled away. I watched Thomas do the same to your mother's inheritance, and now they've done it to you. My chest tightens. On screen, Martha adjusts her reading glasses. But I prepared for this day. The trust is ironclad. They can't touch it no matter what they try. Inside, you'll find everything you need, proof of their previous frauds, documentation of the patterns and resources to protect yourself. Franklin will guide you through the legal proceedings. The video pauses on her face. Her eyes, so like mine, stare through the screen. Franklin slides a business card across the desk. Detective Rivera is expecting your call. She specializes in financial crimes. My phone buzzes. A text from Madison. They're selling everything. Dad says he'll find a way around the account freezing. Your grandmother also left instructions about Madison. Franklin pulls out another folder. She believed your sister was as much a victim as an accomplice. Before he can continue, his office door swings open. A woman in a charcoal pantsuit strides in, badge glinting at her hip. Mr. Morris, Ms. Reynolds. She extends her hand. Detective Rivera. I brought Agent Johnson from the Federal Banking Commission. Your evidence crosses state lines. Agent Johnson follows his tablet displaying familiar spreadsheets, my careful documentation of every unauthorized transaction. Ms. Reynolds, your financial forensics is impressive. Most victims don't maintain such detailed records. I'm an accountant. The words come out automatically while my mind spins. Federal investigation, state lines, the scope keeps expanding. Detective Rivera places a thick manila envelope on Franklin's desk. We're filing charges today. Identity theft, wire fraud, conspiracy. My phone buzzes again. Madison mom's in the hospital, says she's having chest pain. Your mother's timing is interesting, Agent Johnson remarks, glancing at my phone screen. We've seen this pattern before. Health emergencies tend to manifest when charges are imminent. 2 hours later, Franklin's computer chimes with an email alert. Your parents' attorney has withdrawn representation. He adjusts his glasses. The evidence packet we sent this morning apparently violated his ethical comfort zone. Another buzz. Unknown number. Lauren, this is Pastor Stevens. Your parents are devastated. Surely we can find a path to forgiveness without involving authorities. I silence my phone, remembering Sunday dinners, family vacations, the proud smiles at my graduation. The memories blur against the stack of evidence, proving every moment might have been built on theft. The newspaper article comes out tomorrow. Agent Johnson scrolls through his tablet. Your friend Jennifer wrote it. Yes, my throat tightens. She interviewed their friends, their victims, other people they've borrowed from. The community's already shifting. Detective Rivera's tone softens. 3 members of your father's Rotary Club called our tip line. Your mother's tennis partners are reviewing their joint investment accounts. My phone lights up with a restricted number. I answer the speaker. Lauren, Madison's voice shakes. I'll tell you everything. The car was Dad's idea, but I knew about the accounts. They said you owed us because you were successful. That family shares everything. She pauses. I knew it was wrong. I didn't stop them. I just ended the call. Franklin pulls out one final envelope. Your grandmother left specific instructions about Madison. A path to redemption with conditions. I stare at my sister's name written in Martha's elegant script. Even now, 2 years gone, my grandmother is still protecting me, still offering wisdom from beyond. There's something else. Franklin stands moving to a painting on his office wall. It swings away from the wall, revealing a wall safe. The combination clicks under his fingers. Your grandmother left property in Colorado, a cabin near Estes Park. Your parents tried to access it last year, but the trust provisions block them. And he withdraws a thick portfolio. There's also an investment account. She called it your freedom fund. The note says, for when you discover the truth about your parents, for when you need to rebuild. My fingers trace Martha's handwriting on the envelope. The woman who taught me to balance a checkbook at 12, who praised my first savings account, who showed me that independence meant having the power to say no. She saw everything coming. She built me a lifeboat before I knew I was sinking. Detective Rivera's handcuffs gleam on her belt, a steel reminder that justice comes with pain. Agent Johnson's tablet displays my family's financial web, each thread tied to my stolen trust. Madison's text glows on my silenced phone, the first truth she's offered in years. Franklin hands me a pen. Your grandmother believes some wounds need more than time to heal. They need truth consequences and the courage to rebuild. He taps the signature line. The choice is yours. I pick up the pen, my grandmother's voice echoing in my memory. Money is never just about money, Lauren. It's about power, truth, and who we become when we're tested. The paper feels cool under my hand as I sign my name, choosing justice over silence, truth over family fiction, my grandmother's legacy of strength over my parents' legacy of lies. Angry. 2 weeks later in the courtroom, in confrontation, the fluorescent lights of conference room B cast harsh shadows across my father's face as he leaned forward, fingers curled into fists on the polished oak table. We gave you life. He spits spittle gathering at the corners of his mouth. Everything you have is because of us. Behind him, our family attorney shifts uncomfortably in his chair, tugging at his collar. The court-mandated meeting stretches before us like a minefield of unspoken accusations. I smooth my hands over the leather portfolio in front of me, letting my fingertips trace the embossed initials. A gift from Edward when I made department head last month. The weight of the evidence inside anchors me to reality. Life isn't a blank check, Dad. My voice stays steady, practiced from hours of preparation with Dr. Wilson. Neither is love. Madison sits between our parents, her designer purse now replaced by a knockoff from the outlet mall. Her mascara leaves faint smudges under her eyes. For the first time since this nightmare began, she looks her age. I knew, she whispers, her voice cracking, about the withdrawals, the loans. Her fingers twist a tissue into confetti. Accounts. They said you owed us, that you had so much and we had so little, and family shares everything. Mother's hand shoots out to grab Madison's arm, but Judge Catherine Simmons' voice cuts through the air like a whip. Mrs. Reynolds, you were instructed not to interfere with witness statements. I open the portfolio, pulling out the first of many spreadsheets. The paper trembles slightly as I lay it on the table. First unauthorized withdrawal, March 15th, 2019. $100 from my personal checking account. Reason listed Madison's spring break emergency. Reality Mom's Country Club membership dues. Page after page follows. Each number, each date, each forged signature building a monument to betrayal. The rustling papers sound like autumn leaves, dry, dead things that once meant family. Second mortgage on the Reynolds family home, co-signed by Lauren E. Reynolds on December 3rd, 2022. My finger traces the signature that looks nothing like mine. Funny how I was in Seattle that week for a conference. Here's my hotel receipt and boarding pass. 2. The color drains from my father's face as his kingdom of lies crumbles. Mother's perfect French manicure taps against the table, each click marking another second of her performance slipping away. Judge Simmons reviews the evidence in her chambers while we wait, the silence heavy with unspoken words. Madison's tissue pile grows. Dad's lawyer keeps checking his phone, probably already planning his exit strategy. Mother stares straight ahead, her spine rigid with pride that's about to be expensive. When the judge returns, her face gives nothing away. The evidence of systematic financial fraud is overwhelming. She adjusts her reading glasses. Full restitution is ordered in the amount of $198,422.36. The number hangs in the air like a guillotine blade. Additionally, Thomas and Diane Reynolds will face criminal charges for identity theft fraud and financial exploitation. Miss Madison Reynolds, in light of your cooperation and age at the onset of these activities, you are offered a plea deal including community service and partial restitution. Mother's sob sounds more like a hiccup. Dad's fists unclench, leaving half-moon marks in his palms. News travels fast in Longmont. By evening, their church had quietly removed them from the leadership board. The gossip at the country club they can no longer afford spreads like wildfire through the locker rooms and across the manicured greens. Madison's Instagram post appears that night. The truth about financial abuse and my part in it. A thread. Her confession splits our family's social circle like lightning striking a tree. My phone buzzes with messages from strangers, other victims, other daughters and sons who checked their accounts too late, who trusted too long, who didn't want to believe. The mortgage approval letter for my new home arrives the same day as the letter from Uncle William. His words splash across the page like cool water. I always knew my brother would go too far. I'm sorry I didn't warn you. Let me know if you need anything. Doctor. Wilson's office feels smaller the next day as I sink into the familiar leather armchair. They want me at the sentencing next week. She lets the silence stretch, knowing I'll fill it. Part of me wants to watch, to see them face consequences for once in their lives. My fingers find a loose thread on the armrest. The other part wants to protect them still, wants to be free of them. The truth burns coming out, but it burns clean. The evening sun paints my new porch in shades of gold as I turn the key for the first time. Inside, the walls echo with possibility rather than history. My grandmother's photo takes pride of place in the entryway. Her knowing smile is a reminder that at least one person in my family saw clearly enough to protect me. I leave an empty chair at my dining room table. Not for hope, not for forgiveness, but as a reminder that sometimes the family you're born with isn't the family you deserve. A card arrives on my birthday. No signature, but I recognize my mother's handwriting on the envelope. Inside a blank space where love used to live. I pin it to my bulletin board at work, next to the newspaper clipping about financial abuse awareness and the thank you notes from my literacy students at the community center. A reminder that sometimes telling the truth costs everything and sets you free. 6 months later, the autumn sunlight streams through my kitchen windows, catching the crystal bowl, where I've arranged freshly picked apples from the farmer's market. Steam rises from the turkey I've just pulled from the oven, its skin golden and crisp. The scent of sage and rosemary fills every corner of my new home. Lauren, these place settings are gorgeous. Valerie adjusts a napkin ring, her silver bracelet catching the light. Your grandmother would have loved seeing her china being used properly. I smile, running my fingers along the delicate blue pattern that graced so many Reynolds family dinners. Martha always said good china was meant for people who appreciate its value. Robert appears in the doorway, his tall frame filling the space. Speaking of appreciation, Edward just called. He's bringing that spiced cranberry sauce you loved at the office party. My chosen family arrives in waves. Patricia sweeps in wearing a rust-colored sweater, carrying her famous sweet potato casserole. Edward follows shortly after, his white hair slightly wind-blown cranberry sauce secure in its crystal dish. Each arrival feels like another stitch mending the torn fabric of my world. The doorbell chimes at precisely o'clock. My heart skips as I open the door to find Madison standing there gripping a ceramic dish like a shield. Her hair is shorter now, practical rather than fashionable. No designer purse in sight. I made green bean casserole, she says, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. From scratch, not cans. I've been practicing. The words carry more weight than just a description of her cookings. 6 months of sobriety from financial chaos. 6 months of honest work and living within her means. 6 months of rebuilding trust, one small deposit at a time. I step aside to let her in. There is space on the counter next to the rolls. Her eyes catch on the empty chairs at the far end of the table. Spaces where our parents might have sat if Thomas hadn't chosen pride over accountability, if Diane's tentative steps toward amends had been more than empty words. The conversation flows easier than I expected. Patricia describes her latest real estate triumph. Robert shares stories about the cybersecurity classes he's teaching at the community center. Valerie's laugh rings out as Edward recounts a client's creative attempt to explain a suspicious tax deduction. Madison sits quietly at first, but slowly joins in. When she mentions her promotion at the bookstore, her voice carries pride instead of entitlement. The word earned has replaced deserved in her vocabulary. Between dinner and dessert, I slip away to my office. Martha's letter hangs framed on the wall, her elegant handwriting a reminder that someone saw the truth long before I did. The truth costs everything and sets you free. Below it sits a small photo of my financial literacy class at the community center, faces bright with newfound understanding. The podcast about family financial abuse has grown into a movement. 3 more support groups have started in neighboring towns. The Scholarship Fund for Accounting Students who've survived financial fraud now has enough donations for 2 full rides next semester. Lauren Madison appears in the doorway, less certain here than in the dining room. Everyone's ready for pie, but I wanted to. She takes a deep breath. Thank you for not giving up on me completely, for showing me there's a difference between enabling and supporting. The words settle between us like autumn leaves, delicate but real. You did the work, I told her. You're still doing it. Back in the dining room, laughter mingles with the clink of coffee cups against saucers. The late afternoon sun paints everything's sky in shades of amber and gold, so different from the harsh fluorescent lights of courtrooms and lawyers' offices. I serve the pumpkin pie on Martha's dessert plates, the ones she taught me to hand wash when I was barely tall enough to reach the sink. The empty frame on my wall catches my eye, the one waiting for a new definition of family to fill it. Looking around my table, I see the truth she tried to teach me. Family isn't always who shares your blood. Sometimes it's the friends who bring cranberry sauce and tough love. Sometimes it's the sister who learns to stand on her own 2 feet. Sometimes it's the grandmother who leaves you not just her china, but a legacy of seeing clearly and loving anyway. The dishes can wait. Right now, the sound of genuine laughter fills my home, and for the first time in over a year, I laugh with them full and free.